Joshua was having a kind of farewell service and message for the children of Israel, having led them in the company of Moses for 40 years through the wilderness. Now they are home. And he should be going happy that he was able to bring Israel home. A farewell message, as it were. And now putting the issue of service in if. If it's seemed evil. In Exodus chapter 8 verse 1, and the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. Let my people go, that they may serve me. The very condition of their release from Egypt was service. The purpose, the instrument of negotiation and bargain with Pharaoh to let them go was service. And Pharaoh himself admitted, when the problem and the troubles of keeping the children of Israel in Egypt was beyond his scope, he had to say, now go and serve the Lord your God. So they were released to go and serve. Deliverance was upon service. It has always been. But on this occasion in particular, a national deliverance was based on service. The purpose for them leaving Egypt was to go and serve God. And they now have arrived home. They now have arrived home. And the very purpose of our release is now reduced to if. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have the luxury to renegotiate the terms of our salvation. We do not have that right. And it's so easy for you to forget. It's so easy for you to forget. You ought to remember how many of you wrote JAMB. You ought to remember how many of you were cut off with cutoff. You cannot so easily forget the number of times your parents prayed and fasted, and you also put yourself on oath and promise that, God, if I get admission, if I get there. Now you are there. We are begging you to come to church. I know how many people have prayed for, I want to get visa, I want to travel. And we prayed. They got visa, they traveled. I got to the town where they are. And when he saw me coming, he had a cigarette in his hand. So he didn't want to meet me. How easy to trash and compromise the very terms of our salvation and release from the hand of the devil. Jesus spoke to two of his disciples. He said, go over to the village over there against you. You will see a colt tied with the baby. Release the two of them. That's a family deliverance. Release the two of them and bring them to me. And if anybody should be querying you're delivering them, say that the Lord had need for them. And when they brought them to Jesus, Jesus took a ride to Jerusalem. So they were being released to serve. In service, there is a lot of benefits. There's a lot of blessings. Look at me. I've just told you that years ago, I used to sell puff-puff. But I am the one now in service that have traveled all the 6 continents of the world. Not as a puff-puff seller. That I will never have been. And you look at a crook that I was, and you now call me reverend. That when it came to service, the animals that were tied, the animals that if they were coming to where you spread your corn, you bring out stick and drive them away. The animals put on human dress. Each time you are serving, your being is elevated. You added value. And each time the devil is using you, you lose value. Service adds value to our lives, which was the reason why Paul said, for me to live is Christ, because then I will be serving. Now Joshua telling the children of Israel, if it seemed evil for you to serve the Lord, how can it be? It's only 40 years ago we left Egypt. How can it be? But he took a family decision. And we come to a time in our lives when you can speak for your home. And say, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So he took a family commitment. Even though, again, that didn't seem to go far. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. This is good talk. The book of Joshua. When we got to the book of Judges, we didn't see the members of his family to take responsibility and leadership. The Bible says there was no king in Israel and everybody was doing what he liked. Where are the people from Joshua's family? When Moses was going, he called Joshua and laid hands on him and gave mantle of leadership and responsibility to him to continue to serve. When Joshua was going, he went and gathered stones and said, this stone is my witness between you. When the children of Israel were backsliding, what would the stones do? Service in the Bible is family based, and that's the way God sees it. We are not now discountenancing the offer to serve in various cadres of ministry, but primarily in the Bible, service was family based. That's why God separated one family out of 12 and gave them no responsibility other than service. The tribe of Levi generationally were committed to service. They were supposed to be in charge of offering sacrifices for the children of Israel, to be praying for the children of Israel, work for the cleansing of their sins, continue to be the arbiter and stand in between them and God, and that was a family responsibility. There, if you are a Levite, you are compulsorily a priest. If you are a Levite, it's not negotiable. You are in service by birth. You don't have choice to go and do other things. There are certain other services in Israel that are also family based, but they are a bit more fluid. Think of the tribe of Judah to provide the king, and they are the ones who are kings. If you are not from Judah, don't go there. It's a no-go area. They're the one who produce kings. But so we have the priests, we have the king that are family. But in order that the other people who also have an inkling for service, not to think that God doesn't want them anymore, the prophets, the office of a prophet is not ascribed, is open. So you can always find a place to serve. If you are not from Judah, if you are not a Levite, there will always be. And even when you look at the three of them, the prophet is the most senior among them. The prophet will tell the king, tell Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel. That's Brother Elijah for you. Now kings send people. A prophet will send kings. The tribe of Levi were not given the luxury to choose what else to be. The tribe of Levi were not given the luxury of choosing what else to do. No. They are a family to serve, to offer sacrifices, and to always stand in the presence of God. What a noble cause. To enter the holy place and the holy of holies. Who else? The family of Asaph and Jeduthun. They were the people who were singing. And music was family ascribed and family based. And those people were so skillful. First Chronicles, I think chapter 5. If you look at First Chronicles, I think they're about chapter 5. Up to like from verse 1 to 3. Those who are musicians who are so crafty in the way they were serving that they added some mysterious dimension to service. Now, sorry, it's not there. Jeduthun, the Bible says Jeduthun and his children, 6 of them, that they were the people who were singing and they could prophesy with harp. That when they are on the musical instruments, the spirit of prophecy is in the house. Even in this world, we see them, family-based careers, family-based profession. You go to some part of the Southwest, their family, they are lawyers. You go to some family, their families, they are doctors. You go to some family, they are politicians. Of course, the kind of greed that has also crept into our politics is such that now, if you're a politician, you can put your son as, and put your daughter, put. So you have people who are in their lineage, they are politicians. It's not a very lucrative area. I want to encourage you to go and line up there. Be professional, be skillful, be reputable for something, not for telling lies to the public. And politics is the management of intrigues. But we also have them now lined up, they are family of politicians. But we have families that are also in certain other professions and they are noted for it. John Hagee. Some of you listen to John Hagee. John Hagee is number 9 of pastors. His grandfather to number 9 was a pastor. The number 8 was a pastor. Number 7 was a pastor. Number 6 was a pastor. Number 5 a pastor. Number 4 a pastor. 3 a pastor. 2 a pastor. He a pastor. And in his lifetime, his own son is also preaching, number 9. And everything they needed in life, they made it on that line. What else? And when I had seen the things that the Lord had done for me in the course of service, I called my children one day into a family meeting and I asked, what would you like to do? Apparently they have held a meeting behind me that I didn't know. And my firstborn stood up to speak on behalf of the others. And you know what he said? He said, Daddy, we have met on this matter. We have seen enough of God in this house to decide what to do. We will follow you. Today, the 4 of them are pastors and missionaries in different nations of the world. And I'm very happy about that. And I never, therefore, at any point in time while they were in school, they schooled in Unilorin here, some of them. I never had to be pursuing them from one cult to another. They are pastors. They are singers. And I stand to tell you, everything I have wanted to become in life, service gave me. Everything I have prayed to have in life, service gave me. Everything I had sought to achieve in life, service gave me. There's a Yoruba adage that says, "Kò sí ẹni tó bá Ọlọ́run ṣòwò tó lè pàdánù." That is, you cannot trade with God and lose. The Bible calls God a faithful rewarder of those who diligently seek him. The unit of service in the house of God. The days should be here when we will have families that have addicted themselves to certain provision of services in the house of God. The days should be over when you are not in church and then we don't miss you. The days should be over when you will make a mark, and a major mark, an indelible mark in the house of God. The day should come to us when you will establish a legacy of service. I have a friend, he's a lecturer. I preach for him, he's also a pastor. The Christian fellowship on campus went to him because he's the faculty officer and had to handle exams and present such things at the Senate. They went to him to plead with him concerning a certain brother that is so useful in the church but failed. And he failed to the extent that I had to withdraw. There are gentleman failure. But when your failure reach, a failure takes you to carry over. Failure also takes you to withdraw. But when failure has matured, and failure is as long as from here to Shagam, that one is not repeating, it's not also carrying over, it's to withdraw. And the leaders of the fellowship went to plead and said, "Please, sir, can you help us?" My friend told them, he said, the reports have been made, the computations have been made, advance copies have been sent to various people that will be sitting on this matter. We have passed adjustment stage. Sorry. Your father sent you here to come and study. You are doing fellowship. Now you have done fellowship. There's nothing we can do. And then the fellowship was doing end of year concert. And all lecturers and people who is who in the campus, the academia, they were all there. And my friend also was there in suit. Your father sent you here to come and study. You are doing fellowship. Now you've done fellowship and you failed. We'll see. And my friend sat down. When the meeting was about to start, this brother that the fellowship leaders were saying, this brother is so useful. They told the brother, "You failed and you are withdrawing. Don't worry to come for this concert because you will make yourself an object of pity. Everybody will say, sorry, sorry. Just go and pack and go." The brother said, "Well, I have failed. But let me go and play my part in this service before I go. Who knows when the Lord will come? It may even be the last that I can do for Jesus." And so he came and was playing the guitar. If you were in the service that day, when the music started, all the hair on your head will come to a stand. You can virtually recognize the presence of the Holy Spirit. And the Comforter has come. The whole house was filled with the presence of God as this brother was running his hands on the guitar. And my friend took a look and saw, who is playing this thing like this? And it turned out to be the brother that is withdrawing. And my friend was covered with sweat and cannot finish the service. He left the service and said, "Is this the type of brother that you withdraw from this university? If this one withdraw from this university, who will play for God next time?" And skills are not things you must produce or produce overnight. So he went home and could not sleep. Sunday evening. Tomorrow morning, the Senate will be sitting on the results to ratify the results. And my friend went to look at what can be added. And notice that if we add a certain number of points, bonus, this brother will escape. So they got to the Senate, and it was his turn to present the faculty exam position. Then he read those who pass. He read those who have carryover. Then he read those who are withdrawing. And then said, that's the paper. The advance copy is already in your hands. Those of you are seated in the Senate. But Vice Chancellor, sir, I have this to say. If this number of people withdraw from here, a lot of questions will be raised in some adjacent universities. Some of the vice chancellors of these different universities will produce them here. They will start asking, what are they doing in this place that so many people are failing? And you know, vice chancellors, sir, this is your time. It's not going to be your time that the people are failing like this. In my own opinion, vice chancellor, sir, I would recommend, and I hope the whole house will agree, to add this number of points, which when added, whoever still failed, let them go. And the vice chancellor answered and said, you said this is my time. It's your time, it's our time. All of us here. It shouldn't be our time that we're having mass failure like this and everybody withdrawing. It's our time. And they're asking everybody, what do you think? Everybody says it's our time. Add the point. Add it. That was Monday morning. This brother yesterday, when the service closed yesterday, he stayed back and was the one carrying the loudspeaker to go and keep till next session, in which he will not be there. He was the one rolling the wire to go and keep for next session, where he knew he will not be there. He was the one who was mopping up the stage and carrying stuff and go keep them against next session, in which he knew he will not be there. So he didn't wake up on time because he slept late. So somebody went to tap in and wake him up and said, brother, do you know that the Senate is meeting right now and the enough points have been granted our faculty to be added, and the addition brought your score to a point that you are no more withdrawing from the university? He did his hands like this, a picture I will never forget. It remains in my mind and will be there till the Lord comes. He was weeping, was crying. He said, oh Lord, with these hands, I wrote exams and I failed. With these hands, I played guitar and I passed. With these hands, I wrote exams and I failed. But with these same hands, I served. The marks that my hand could not give me in class, as of learning, these same hands now serve God and obtain those marks. It pays to serve Jesus. When Jimmy Carter won the American presidency and he was about to be sworn in, he just died, I think, a few months ago at the age of 100. Journalists put their microphone to his mouth and said, Your Excellency, you've been a Baptist Sunday school teacher all your life. He said, yes. Now that you are becoming an American president, will you still continue to serve in the Sunday school? Then he said, if the American presidency will not allow me to continue to serve as a Sunday school teacher, I will resign. And the journalist turned to the wife and said, is that what you think? He said he will resign that day. That is, I'm not saying that it's a family decision. It's not just what I think, but I am fast tracking the resignation. That in the event, because when he was a senator, he was still serving as a Sunday school teacher. When he became the governor, he continued to serve as a Sunday school teacher. He had always said it, that a Sunday school teacher he would die a Sunday school teacher. And then when he won the American presidency, the journalists want to know, excuse me, sir, now that you are becoming the president, the most powerful president in the world, would you still continue to be a Sunday school teacher? Then he said, if the American presidency will not let me serve in the Sunday school, I will resign. Then they turned to the wife and said, is that what you think? He said he will resign that day. And he served as a Sunday school teacher, even as an American president. You know, we have a problem in the church. When Muslims are appointed into strategic positions, they become more Islamic. When Christians are appointed to prominent positions, they reduce their service. That's when they will put politics meeting on Sunday to deliberately make it impossible for them to go to church. I am the one to tell you what I see and bear. And when I ask him, we are no more seeing you in church, on his pastor, now you are now in Abuja, you are no more coming to church. If you are a Muslim, that's not the way they do their own. When they give you position as a Muslim, you become more Islamic, even if you don't know where the sun is. But when they appoint Christian, I produced so many of them that became less Christian. Jimmy Carter continued to serve as a Sunday school teacher, even as the president, the most powerful president of the whole world. And then many more people were joining his Sunday school class. The big men and who is who, the gurus, the oil cartel. There were people who want to be in the president's class. From all over the United States, private jet owners fly themselves to his church to be in the Sunday school. They want to be in the Sunday school class of the president. Using your post in service to draw men to God. That should be a plus. Because right from the beginning, the way God sees is that he's promoting you, he's blessing you for service. He said he's giving you salvation for service. Then we came to a point and said, if it looks evil for you to serve, what is it? What I tell you? He lived on. He said, when I lived the White House, because I won't be there forever. When I leave the White House, I need to know, I need to be able to return to what I used to be. I won't be in the White House forever. But I have to also make sure that where I was before I was appointed, that place, don't let it be vacant. I don't want the place to be vacant. I want to continue in service. And for that sake, and many more that I don't know, I don't understand, God preserved the life of Jimmy Carter, and he served. Even when he was on wheelchair at the age of 98 and could no longer walk, they would wheel him to the Sunday school class. He said, I lived a Sunday school teacher, I would die a Sunday school teacher. And he left it as a legacy. The name of my father is Omolehin. And all we do in our house is to worship Ifa. I saw my father do it. But I decided to pick Omolehin out of that and become Isaac Omolehin. And leave the Ifa at home. And now generated my own line of service to God. I'm planning to retire very soon and retire into a Bible college where I will be teaching those who are just coming, those who still have energy, those who are younger, those who can still travel. And I took my children to the permanent site of the Bible college, and I told them, when I die, bury me here. And when I was laying the foundation of the Bible college, my second born, who had been with me on the mission field all his life, we traveled to East Africa together on missionary service. And I will be climbing the rocks to go and preach to those who are living inside the hole. And when I announce my presence, I'm coming, he will poke out his head from inside the hole. And I will ask for permission, can I come? Because if he does not approve of my coming, he will roll stone against me. And I was climbing the hills in Tanzania. And halfway through, my breath failed. And my second son called me and said, Dad, come down. I will go. And he served among the Maasais in East Africa for 10 years. They had a son. Of all my children, he's the one who took after me the most as a missionary. So I told him, I'm signing my will. This Bible college, I will it to you. My other children, I give them other things. But the most important is who I am. And when I was laying the foundation, there are 4 corners. I asked him to lay one corner. And his 7-year-old son, I asked that that son should stand next to him and take the picture together. I don't want him to grow to think that he has options. I'm sorry if I sound brutal. So that's who I am. If you don't like it, the worst of it will be that you will not invite me again and I'll stay home. I have job. Why will he not? This 7-year-old boy in Tanzania at the age of 4 could not talk. I prayed all the prayers I know in my life. I go to crusade, the dumb speak, the blind see. My own did not talk. And it became such a huge embarrassment to me as a healing evangelist. So my wife sent for the wife of my son, bring the boy home. And the boy stayed with me for 2 years. I kept praying every day. He did not talk. I brought him here to the hospital. And the doctors examined him and said, we don't know what medicine to give him to talk. So we were at home. One day the doctor called us back and asked the mother, where do you live? We live in Tanzania on a mission field among the Maasais. What language do you speak there? Said they speak Swahili. When you are in the house, what language do you speak? We speak English and Yoruba. I said, oh. He said, go back home. You don't need medicine. Limit conversation in your house to only one language. He will speak in 3 months. So we made a law in our house. One language. The doctor here told us, he said, what happened is that the boy is confused. That when he didn't know which one, whether to speak Swahili or to speak Yoruba or to speak Yoruba Kudake. So we limited conversation in our house to one language, and in 3 months, the boy began to speak. After a while, he started speaking Yoruba even. So he was speaking English and Yoruba. The father took a break from the mission field and go for follow, and they are now in the Baptist University in Kentucky, where the father went to study and take masters on missions. We are going nowhere. Missions. That when you finish studying missions, take a master's degree, you go back to the mission field. So when he got to class, all that they're teaching them in the mission, in the master's degree, they were the book side of the practical that he had been doing for 10 years. So he was winning all the scholarships. And recently I called them to speak to them, and I asked the boy, the small boy, that, how are you? He said, yes. I started to say, praise the Lord. He was all this sort of American. When we're going to get to school next year, we're getting ready to go to school. He's now an American by accent. I said, from when? You just got there 2 years ago. But you know, children learn very fast. Let me get back to what I'm saying before. Why would he not be committed? Why would he not be committed? Was it not him that was going to be dumb? Was it not him that was going to live as a dumb person, that God helped us to know what to do with his life, and his voice box and vocal cords open, and he was now speaking? He owes it to God, even him, to serve. And all the benefits of grace you have received to come this far in your life, there are issues that make you a debtor to serve, as a way to pay back. In not serving, you get lost. And by me and my father's house, I disconnect myself from Ifa. I disconnect myself. What I should have, he also inherited Ifa. My father inherited Ifa. And when we are working on the farm, he will be telling me that that weed, don't remove it, leave it. When we get to the house, I will explain to you what it is used for. And I will say, okay, he will be hoeing one row, I will be hoeing another row. And he will be showing me weeds. So he was already trying to let me know what to hand over to me. But before we went far on that, he died, and I found Christ. So if I could not follow my father's order in Ifa, I can set up my own order, and I have, to the second generation in my lifetime. When I say put that boy there, let him stand there. As you are putting the block down, let him stand with you. Take the picture. So we're going to show it to him as he grows up, that our house, we are bond men. My son was wedding and brought the lady. And I look at the lady and I said, welcome. Do you know us in this house? He said, I know Temple. I know. Yeah. I said, no. If you don't know Temple, you will not follow him here. I'm asking, do you know us in this house? Have you been told who we are? Have you been told that we are bondmen? Welcome to the house of bondage. And we are so seriously committed. I was preaching in Manuel Oset's church, and I explained. My third son was getting married to a lady whose parents are also in my church. So I was a lucky person. We are going nowhere. And my son, who is a missionary somewhere in Moro, local government, told me, he said that today that they are paying dowry. So we did the dowry payment in our church. We put canopy outside. Family of wife, sit down here. Family of husband, sit down here. My wife came, and my son came and told me, he said, sir, these engagers that will tell us that they are bringing the wife, that petrol finish on the road, and they will spread clothes down, and they'll be putting money, and be putting money. He said, all this trick, and all these tricks they are playing here to collect money. He said, sir, tell them to do quick, because I have crusade in Molete at 2 o'clock. said, okay. So I went and told the engager that do quick. He said, it's all right, sir. It's all right, sir. Then they will do small. They say, as they are bringing the wife, that petrol finish on the road. Then they will spread clothes down. We'll be putting money to go and buy petrol so that they will bring the wife. We're doing all that. At 2 o'clock, my son got up and said that wherever it ends, please see to it yourself. I'm gone. My son left us and left the parents of the woman, and left me and his mother, and took his Bible and went away. And when his wife to be saw that Moyo had left, she also took her Bible and followed. So I went to our in-laws to enjoy my binu. Say, I want more saying. Children of nowadays. But these children of nowadays that I am talking about is about my own service that I have transferred to the second generation, and I'm able to supervise it while I am alive. It's not that I'm hoping that when I die they will follow. They are doing it when I'm alive. I pray in the name of Jesus that the service of God will go far beyond you, and it will become a legacy in your own house that you can transfer to your children. Rise up on your feet for us to pray. I want to pray for people who want to be more committed to service. I'm not saying that you are not serving God. Who am I to say that? But I'm just thinking, I'm not even saying that. I'm just thinking that you can do more. I'm not saying that you are not serving God. But I'm just thinking, perhaps you can do just a little more. And of all we do in life or achieve in life, if you build a house, when we get to heaven, God will not reward you for building a house. You are the one living inside. If you bought a car, good. When we get to heaven, God will not reward you for buying a car. You are the one riding it. If you bought yourself the best dress, when we get to heaven, God will not reward you for buying the dress. You are the one wearing it. If you bought the best shoe, God will not reward you. Look, when we get to heaven, anything you did for yourself, you are the one using it. God cannot be rewarding you for that. But when we get to heaven, you will be rewarded for what you did for God, however small. He said, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to pay everyone according to his, not according to his faith, but according to his work. Faith alone is not enough here now. But faith without works is dead. Bow your heads in prayer.